Think about the Holocaust. Thousands, millions of innocent lives slaughtered. You and I would most likely look at that time and think of it as a dark time in history, a time that never should ever be repeated. Abortion is the silent Holocaust happening right in our midst, except this time we don't view it as a dark time in history. We commend it. You would think that our government wouldn't be as dark and heinous as to allow a Holocaust to be taking place in our nation. But we the people don't protect these lives. We authorize their destruction. Today I want to talk to you about the growing issue of abortion. I'll be discussing some facts about abortion, the tragedy of abortion, and how you and I should raise our voices on behalf of those who do not have them. So what exactly is abortion? Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines abortion as this: the termination of a pregnancy after, accompanied by, resulting in, or closely followed by the death of the embryo or fetus. That's the really pretty and nice way of saying that abortion is the deliberate slaughter of unborn human beings. Operation Rescue reported that roughly 1.21 million abortions take place in America each year. 1.21 million lives gone. Reasoning for abortion ranges. It could be that a woman is a little bit older, already has a few kids, and doesn't want another one. Thus, she has an abortion. Or it could be an unplanned pregnancy from a young couple or a teenage pregnancy, and thus results in abortion. Or reasoning can be a little bit more severe, such as is the case of rape or incest. While some reasons may be more severe and harder to deal with than others, abortion is not justifiable. So how does abortion actually happen? LifeSite News gave this list of options for mothers who are seeking an abortion. Dilation and curettage. This is where a curette, which is a scoop-shaped surgical instrument, is inserted into the uterus, cutting the baby's body into small pieces. The body is then extracted through a suction tube, which is pretty much like a vacuum cleaner. There's also dilation and evacuation. This is where forceps, which are pretty much like scissors, are inserted into the uterus, grabbing the child's body and twisting it to dismember it. If the head is too large, they must crush it. There's also hysterectomy, which is used in the last 3 months of pregnancy when the baby is almost fully developed. The womb is entered by a surgical incision, kind of like a C-section, where they proceed to cut the abdominal cord, which cuts off the baby's supply of oxygen, causing the baby to suffocate. At times, however, the baby might be a little bit too developed, so they'll induce labor and leave the baby to die unattended. There's also saline injection, which works kind of like salt on a snail. There's intracranial injection, suction abortion, and unfortunately the options for moms seeking this go on. So promptly the question would be, why would our government legalize such terrible deaths to happen to our most vulnerable citizens? Well, the issue lies in women's rights over their bodies, over their lives. On the 42nd anniversary of the major case Roe v. Wade, President Obama released this statement. 42 years ago today, the U.S. Supreme Court issued its ruling in Roe v. Wade, a decision that protects a woman's freedom to make her own choices about her body and her health, and reaffirms a fundamental American value that government should not intrude in our most private and personal family matters. This leads us into the heart and depravity of abortion. We claim to be protecting women's rights, but what we're really doing is denying rights to millions of voiceless little women every year. We may call it a private family matter that's pretty, that's safe and neat, but still these 1.21 million babies are dead, and we killed them, and we would have it remain legal. I would hope that no one would look at the Holocaust and think, it was probably really convenient for the Nazis to kill innocent Jews, and so in that case, I'm sure it was okay. I hope none of my listeners would ever take a disposition like that. But those of you who might be struggling with the idea of abortion, or who those might be leaning toward pro-choice side, are we not doing the same thing? A clinical anatomist who studied for 60 years in the American Association of Anatomists said this: "A zygote is the beginning of a new human being. Human development begins at fertilization, the process during which a male gamete unites with a female gamete." Another professor of genetics at the University of Descartes in Paris said this: "After fertilization has taken place, a new human being has come into being." He added this: "It's no longer a matter of taste or opinion, not a metaphysical contention. It's plain evidence. Each individual has a very neat beginning at conception." This is science. These are lives, and we're killing them. They're voiceless, and they're silent, and we would have it remain okay? What's the difference between a little girl running on the playground and a little girl inside of a mother's womb? You would call me unjust and wrong if I somehow killed the little girl running on the playground. But if the little girl in here, if I killed her, I would be considered a strong woman who's standing up for her rights. There's something wrong with that picture. This is the silent Holocaust. In this moment, in this year, 1.21 million babies will lose their lives. They will see a strange sight, a forceps in their mother's womb, a place where they should feel most loved, a place where they should feel safe. But instead, the little potential Eleanor Roosevelt or potential William Wilberforce is being murdered. They're unable to say stop. They're unable to say that hurts them. They're denied rights. In America, it's beautiful how we fight for rights and equality and freedom, but yet we're letting this happen to millions of citizens every year. Have you thought about these things? Have you ever deeply pondered the issue of abortion? I would first and foremost urge you to think about these things. Abortion is crime, and it's not worth standing next to and condemning as if it were a good thing. For those of you who can think about 1.21 million babies and get enraged, let's take action. Abortion is dominant in our society, but there are those who are fighting it, and we should stand with them. There are great organizations like Pro-Life Action League, or even local organizations like Riverside Life Services, who are taking logical steps to fight abortion. They're advising women considering abortions to choose life by offering them adoption programs and stability therapy. They're spreading awareness. They're protesting this. And this is what all of us with hearts enraged should be doing. Today, I hope you're able to come away with the understanding of the reality of abortion, the cruelty and tragedy of abortion, and an urge to speak. Abortion's not slowing down, so we shouldn't either. In our selfish society, there are rights being stolen, and this year 1.21 million babies will be gone unless you and I do something, unless we join the fight. I urge you to do research, get involved. This is an important issue, and everyone should try to stop it. Thank you. So now I'm going to be taking some questions from my great audience today who listened to my abortion speech, my sister, and she's going to field some questions about the speech. So take it away, sir.
How do women feel in and after abortion?
That's a great question. So there's lots of answers to that question. The physical process for the woman in an abortion is actually really painful. All the methods that I list, dilation and curettage, dilation, evacuation, those are all very painful because obviously they're inserting instruments into the woman's uterus. And so it's a very painful process for the woman. But also there's a lot of emotional ramifications that come after having an abortion. Medical news today talked about the emotional aspects for a woman, that sometimes it will engender grief and fear and guilt after doing such a terrible thing. A lot of it is that they will attribute it to hormones. The woman, obviously, her body is going through a lot, and so she has a lot of hormones. But it really, I would say that the natural guilt of having an abortion, like you killed your baby, that's going to engender some guilt. So there's lots of different ramifications for abortion for the woman. So any next question?
What happens if a woman doesn't want to have a baby, but she's going to have a baby?
So you're asking, like, she's not going to get an abortion, but she just still doesn't want the baby?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different options for moms who, not a lot, but there's options for moms apart from abortion. Abortion should be the last, actually it shouldn't even be on the list. Adoption is a beautiful, beautiful thing. There's plenty of couples who cannot have children and want children, and which it makes it a shameful thing that abortions are taking place right now, because there's homes and open arms for babies everywhere. And so adoption is huge. There's, for a woman who is going to give birth to a kid who doesn't want to have an abortion because she understands the ramifications of that, but still wants to not keep the child because she's unable to have the child for various number of reasons, there's still options outside of abortion, adoption being a huge one. So is that all?
Yeah.
What'd you think of my speech?